on off. Good day. Hello, Denise. Hello, William. Opposite ends of the spectrum there, I believe. Today is Friday, Free for All Friday, January 10th, 2025. And I believe it's my father-in-law's birthday today. I think. We'll have to check on that before I go making a big announcement. All right. We're going to talk more about the processes and things that I've got going, that I'm helping others get going, in order to realize this aspect of what has been kept hidden from us. We must do our research. This is quite involved, as far as everybody's situation is a little bit different. So, however, if you grasp the concept of true freedom and how things are supposed to be with a Catholic perspective, and at the same time try to apply that with the system that is in place, which is not Catholic. It appears they tried to do a compromise in 1913 or thereabouts, because the world was more Catholic back then, at least, with regards to many things. However, that has fallen far away. Let's get started with the Good Day Rising prayers, and then I'll talk more about that. All right. And I apologize for being late. 2 or 3 minutes late. And I am feeling better a little bit every day, believe it or not. In nomine Deum, Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Divine Family. Let's take a moment to do that. Most Holy and Venerable Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility. I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O Most Holy Trinity, I firmly believe that Thou art one Divine Family, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. And relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace, and life everlasting through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum. O Most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good. Let us beg of the Most Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O Most Holy Trinity, Thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of Thy grace. Deny me not Thy grace proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which Thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Dea Matronam Nostrae, Mother of God, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress and my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinity, as envisioned by Saint Lucia as the most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love, I firmly resolve with the help of thy grace to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. In nomine Dei Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Give me 1 second to get the little fire going here. I caught it. It's about 20 degrees Fahrenheit here, which is warm for the last few. As a little tidbit of information, I buy these. These are cutoffs from a wood mill, and it's hardwood that I guess they make furniture and things out of. And then there's no bark. I just have to cut them into lengths. And they burn really easy. All right, we don't want to roast me out of the room either. I've done that before. All right. So, excuse me. Again, I'm going to hold this book up so that you guys can get a copy of it. It really helps a lot. And it's called Meet Your Straw Man. And it's available on eBay. And I think there's a 3-book set, or you can buy them individually. I believe one is for law enforcement. It gives them an idea of the rights of the people so that they can properly do their jobs. And again, they are working for the IRS, believe it or not, the IMF, the police, and the law enforcement. The sheriffs are a little different. They're constitutionally supposed to work for the people. This is under the American system, which is not a Catholic system. All right, but we're not gonna delve into that today. To give you an update, we've sent out a few novations. I'm not going to say who else is doing this, but I'm helping them. And they received, and this was for credit cards. So let me find that part of the book here. Validation of debt, okay, because the system is set up for credit to be used. All right, cash is supposed to be used for those little things, and not by us, believe it or not. The cash is supposed to be used by government officials, the Federal Reserve notes. We, the people, under this current system, aren't supposed to, quote unquote, pay with cash for anything. It's all supposed to be discharged according to the agreement that they made with the people. And when I say they, the agreement they made, I'm talking about the international bankers who wanted to control the monetary supply. In order to get this passed in the US, they had to give something up in order to gain something. But what they gave up, they weren't going to tell us. So there was a few that knew that this existed, and that's why the ultimate rich don't ever pay taxes, because they don't have to, just like we don't have to. But they knew about it and we didn't. It's becoming clear now that we don't. And like one gentleman in a chat was saying, last year we learned a lot. Now, this year is going to be the time of recouping a lot. So it's all a matter of understanding the processes that they put in place in order for us to recoup. And when I say recoup, I mean get back all, not all necessarily, because that's practically impossible, but a lot of what we've had to pay for. Again, the process is understanding what debt is and how this deal was made. So the deal was that in order for us to be allowed, us being the bankers, to control the monetary supply, the people who owned everything in the country, because they were all sovereign, that's the way they set this country up, they would in turn not have to pay for anything. But in return also they would lose their ability to pay, if you know what I'm saying. So it's a little tricky, and it should never have been passed, because it leaves things way too open for corruption and deception, which is obvious today. So the process is were very specific with regards to bankruptcy, because it all has to do with bankruptcy. When the United States government, quote unquote, went bankrupt, the United States corporation, again, it keeps bankrupting. Hasn't gone bankrupt just once. It's gone bankrupt multiple times. And it's usually because the bankers trigger the countries to go to war. Okay, and they fool the population, which is easily done. Look at what we're cheering about in the news today, or will be on January 20th. Okay, the people are easily tricked and fooled. And when they talk about, they being politicians and the rich and the bankers, when they talk about how they're going to help us, they're not talking about we the people or God's people. They're talking about themselves. So read into that every time you listen to a politician give a speech. So the banks were allowed to have access to the credits that are available to the people. They were the middlemen, they were the facilitators, the transmitting utilities. Their purpose was to keep the accounting for the IRS and for the bankers, to help keep the accounting and to facilitate the um, the access to the credit that we had. But then they realized, well, if we can deceive them into understanding or deceive them into believing that we're loaning them something of value, then we can get paid twice. Once from the credits at the national level, at the treasury level, and then again from them personally, from their labor. And that's how the deceit ended up happening. So the debt that they trick you into getting with, like, let's say a credit card, and then this is supposed to be, a credit card is supposed to be our access to those credits for things that we need, like the government employees would use cash to get things. All right. And so we're not supposed to be paying it back. Now, you're wondering, okay, well, how do the banks make anything out of this? Well, it's supposed to be where they charge a fee for that service. Okay, and again, that fee would come out of those credits. It wouldn't come out of your labor. Okay, so the government, per se, would pay the banks that fee to give access to your credit and to keep track of it, etc. That's the way it's supposed to be. This is what we need to reteach the banks. They have the people in the banks who run the banks, who are loan officers and whatnot. They have to be retrained in their thinking and understanding of this, because the banks are not loaning anything of theirs. It's against the law, believe it or not, at least according to this. So, which would make sense under that system. So the novation letter is a letter to get them to understand this new process that they must follow. The original contract that you, quote unquote, signed to get the credit card had one signature on it, just yours. It didn't have a signature from the president of the bank or any officer of the bank on that contract. So therefore, it's an invalid contract. You have to have two signatures on a contract for it to be valid, both of them giving something of equal value. So did the bank give you anything of equal value? Well, you say, well, they gave you credit, but they actually didn't give you credit from their assets. They gave you access to credit from your own at the Treasury. All right, I hope I'm making this clear. And if it's not, listen to this again or a couple times. It's just like the deception of the multiple Jesuses and the Mary deception and, the things that they do. It takes a while to unfurl that deception and to be able to grasp it so that you understand it. And once you do, then you're like, okay, so now how do I get the credits? How do I get them? One of the ways is that we're doing now is the novation letter. Now, with the first letter that was sent, that I'm helping this gentleman with, the 30 days went by, and near the end of the 30 days, he received letters from two of the credit card companies. One was Bank of America, and one was Citigroup. Both of them said that they're closing the accounts, but they still said that they need to, that the cardholder still needs to make payments. Well, then the account isn't closed, right? If it's closed, it's closed. So it's still open. It's just that they're forbidding access to more credit currently. And again, both letters were form letters. They were not signed with a wet ink signature by an officer or a officer of the institution or corporation. So that's their first default. Okay, and so now we have to send a second notice, a notice of default. The second notice is called a notice of default, which I have to remember to tell my friend there that we have to label it that notice of default, because they did not agree, they did not follow the terms of the new contract in the novation. Okay, they just ignored basically the demands of the first notice. So this process is one, because it's going to be one of going to court but not going to court. So you're making an administrative process, which is what they do all the time to you. They'll send you notice, a notice, a notice if you stop paying or whatever. And then they'll go to the court and get a judgment, okay? And this can all be done via the mail. And then the court will look at the paperwork and say, okay, well, this is true, true, true. Okay, well, you didn't respond, so the one who wrote the novation or the letter wins. And I award you judgment on what you asked for in there. And the novations are very thorough, and usually what we want to do is keep the account open with unlimited credit access and have them set it off to zero, either monthly or annually, whatever, and they keep the interest that would accrue on the amounts of credit that you use, but you're not paying it because they're accessing it through the Federal Reserve discount window, okay, with your permission, your signature. That's what creates the funds or the credits that they can access. Okay, they weren't satisfied with the interest or that. They wanted double and triple dipping is basically what they wanted to do, which is typical of the small hats. So, greed is one of those vices. That's why we teach the science of virtue. So that's where we're at. We're at stage 2 with that. The IRS, I'm going to have to amend my tax return, so that it will reflect past tax payments. So those coupon payments that I made that they ignored, okay, I'm starting to understand, at least I'm running this through my head and hopefully I'm right, that because those amounts were not accounted for on a form, they didn't know what to do with them, so they ignored them. But now, if I put those amounts on an amended return, showing that I made the payments with the amounts, and then ask for the refund, and not assume that because I overpaid, they would refund me. Okay, so that's how it's all accounting tricks. The scribes are very tricky. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that, and we'll continue with that, and I'll keep you posted. Again, if you want to do more research, which I strongly encourage everybody to do it slowly. There's no rush. It's looking up how to pay yourself, how to access your credits, different search terms like that. There's Telegram groups, there's YouTube videos, Don't buy anybody's programs, though. That'll tell you to do it, because I've been reading that people are charging for programs or books, and they're not completely accurate. And because they're still actually figuring out all the forms needed and whatnot. All right, so I don't know how long this whole American system is going to last. However, with our prayers, I'll have it continue to last for a little while, so maybe we can get some financial relief. And again, it's going to bring down them, though. So they will have a hard time dealing with their losses, because they've been living off the fatted calf, if you will. And now they're going to have to slim down like they've been making us do for millennia, or at least hundreds of years. So that's why it's so important to get back to a Catholic system. Validate the debt. They can never do that. Ask for a signed invoice, not a statement from them saying what you owe. They can't do that. Ask for a copy of the contract binding both parties, you and them, in a letter by certified mail, so that there is an independent witness to having it been delivered. Okay? And every letter you write should be marked clearly without prejudice. They're required to give you full disclosure. You were not told that you were actually creating the credit. You were actually creating the credit with your wet ink signature. You weren't told that. Now there's recordings of it online too. I heard one the other day where somebody called a representative, and he didn't want to admit it, but eventually he did, that the note had no value until it was signed. Equal consideration for a legal contract. They brought nothing of value to the table and so had nothing to lose. Okay, that's lawful terms and conditions. Okay, their terms and conditions were based on fraud. And that's the other thing they do. And they sent in a letter back to my friend, was saying that you agreed to this. It doesn't matter, because if it was based in fraud, the agreement is null and void. The wet ink signatures of both parties, I mentioned that before. Now, corporations can't sign because they have no right or mind to contract, since they are soulless legal fictions. And furthermore, no third party can sign a contract on their behalf. All right, so that's why they will never sign anything back to you. And that's why you will, as long as you follow the processes, you will, mostly win all the time. As long as your processes are followed according to the administrative process, you're going to win. And the gentleman who has been helping me with this has told me that he's had a lot of success helping other people. And he doesn't charge anything. If you want to send him something after you recoup a large amount, he's willing to accept gifts like that, which is very admirable. That's the way it should be. All right. If you have any questions about that, and again, I hate to send people to this vulgar Scientologist, but he's made pretty good novation letters out. If you would want, I can give you that information. Sometimes you have to know the enemy, if you will, and see what they're doing, okay? Because some of what they're doing is truthful, let's say, but for the wrong reason they're doing it. So we have to be careful with regards to that. We have to keep a distance, a safe space, if you will. Keep a Catholic space around you. All right, let's begin Mass. Oh, and one more thing, really quick. If you're new here, if you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you plan to criticize, condemn, or complain, make sure that your own YouTube channel doesn't have obvious things that make you appear something you're not. Let's just put it that way. Take a look at yourself before you look at taking down or tearing down others. Deum vobiscum et quoque apote. Oremus. O most holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hoc immaculatum hostium, quam ego indignius famulos tuos offeriti Deum meum vivum et verum, pro inabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed et pro omnibus fidelibus Catholicorum vivis atque defunctis, ut mihi et idis profiget ad salutem. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatem edibidito condidisi et edibidus reformasti da nobis, pedius atque divine mysterium eis divinitatis esse consortis humilitatis nostrae, fieri denotis es paterceps Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum cadecem salutaris tuum deprecantes clementium, ut expecto divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra, et totius mundi salute cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipiam orate Deum Iesum Christum, et sic fiat sacrificium nostrum in conspecto tuo hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum matronam nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificato. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite blata prosequendo, et acapere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe, Sancta Trinitas Sancta Oblationem, quam tibi effedimus, a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostra et Papa Peter Sanctorum, et historum et omnium sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis aut salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere in interim caelis coram memoriam agimus in tedis per in Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meam equestrum sacrificium accetabile fiat per Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipia Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nomini sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostram, totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote, surusum corda habemus ad Deum. Gracias sacamos Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te icit clementes in immortale Pater Deum Deum nostra et in Patrum Spiritum Sanctum et in Jesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostra et supplices orada nos petimus. Uti ecapte habeas et sanctificas hec sanctam sacramentum miribata. In primis quae tibi eferimus pro ecclesiam tuum sanctum catholicam convecificare custodidio et honore et regere. Digneris tot orbiterarum atquae catholicae. Memento Deum famorum Catholicorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We pray for Katie, Gage, RM, Neil and Earl Lively, Maria Josephina Mose, Letitia, Mindy, Clarette, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Greg Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Sarah and Becky, Janelina, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Dasco, Nai, Tafour, Wolf, Began, Kane, families, and their intentions, and Robert Dasco Jr. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sedificantis Catholic Council office and monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value medium exchange with no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society and to be there to transition it from what we have to a Catholic society and world. We ask for the reversal of feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity, and that women come to understanding that raising traditional Catholic families is a very high ideal and a necessity for sustaining a Catholic society of peace. And we ask that all pornography, the OnlyFans platform, and all quote-unquote gay marriage be banned. All these things we ask in accordance with the Most Holy Trinity's divine and holy will. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides conide est et nata devotio pro quibus tibi eferimus vero que tibi affront hoc sacrificium laudis, proces visque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum prospe salutis et inculamitatis suae. Tibi queredum vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et momononantes in primis, gloriosa semper Deum maternam nostra, et in Jesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum Papa Sancta Petri, et Sancta Lucia, et Sancta Iacinta, et Sancta Francisco, Sancta Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meditis, praecibus quae canucedas ut in omnibus protectiones tuae boneum exidio per Ionum Christum Dei nostrum. Quam oblationem de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratem acceptabilem quae feceri dineris ut nobis corpum et sanguinem fiat edictissimi Filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum. Qui pridie quam pateretor recepit panem in sanctas ac honorabilis manus suas, et erivatis oclis in calamite Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, fregit, dedique lumnis sui dicens accipite et mandicate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremonia est accipiens et hoc praeclarum calicem in sanctas ac honorabilis manus suas sit in tibi gratias agens, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecravit dedique lumnis sui dicens accipite et bibite ex eo omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis affondetur in remissionem peccatorum. Haequo te scumque feceritis in memoria fecietis. unde et memoris Deum nos over tui sere plebs tua, sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tambe et passionis nec non et benferis resurrectionis. Sed et in caelos gloriosa ascensionis afferimus preclare majestati tui de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno votur respicieri digneris. Supplices te legamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum iube hic per fide per manus tuum ut quod ex hoc autoris participatione sopra sanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem sensenimus, omni sanctificatione caelestia, gratia Dei per amor per in Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Nicole Guy, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis et omnibus in Christum quiscentibum locum reficere illucis et pacis et tantor gesta per amor per in Christum Deum nostrum. Per quem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Mater omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dei, matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Sanctam tuum in mulieribus, Dea matronam nostrae, materam Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, parateritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum matronam nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctum, Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, ut opi misericordiae tuae aduiti et peccato, simus epe liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per eundem Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque pote. Haecum extio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat ecipitibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque pote. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, qua parante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti. Libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinem tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in hadare mandatis, et unum cum separare permittas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesimo non mihi proveniat in idicium condonationem, sed pro tu pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum mentis et corporis, et ad abedelam percipiendum qui vivis et regnas, cum Deum matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem ecipiem et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum matronam nostrae non sundinius, ut udis et data meis, intante di guervos napaternum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, ut udis et data meis, intante di guervos napaternum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, ut udis et data meis, intante di guervos napaternum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. quid retribum Deum Iesum Christum, pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem solitaris ecipim in nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum Matronam Nostra et ab inimicis meis avocero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meum. Quod ora sumus Deum Iesum Christum puramente capiamus et immunum et tempore fide nobis remedium, sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod se sanguis quam patavi et heriat vis geribus meis, et praesta ut in me non remaniat scelera macula quam purat sancta reficerum sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque pote. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, the most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one holy Trinity, divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque pote, ite mises. Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam, et sequum servitutis mea praesta ut sacrificium coroculis tuae maestatis in unus autoritibus et acceptabile miquet omnibus, pro quibus irut opto leciti miserante propitiare per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinity, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of God Jesus Christ, who was, is, and ever shall be, present here, in reparation for the outrageous sacrileges and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the immaculate heart of God our Lady, who was, is, and ever shall be, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum, Matronam Nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. tomorrow we will continue with the original rosary. A few more things with regards to that. Lots of pictures on that one, so you want to go to that website page to follow for tomorrow. Anyway, please go and sanctify all those you meet. And again, if you want to know more about what we talked about today, contracts and getting credit from yourself, getting your credits, claiming your credits, that's the search. I was trying to think of the search term. Claim your credits. That's the search term that you want to look up and see what appears. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Please go and sanctify all those who you meet. Have a great day.